Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Heart-Based Business Show. I'm always appreciative when you are here with me. And I have something really important I want to talk to you about today, about the big shift and whether you're ready for it. So let me just take a moment here to do my intro, and then I'll be right back with you. Hi, and welcome back. I wanted to talk to you about this topic today because the majority of the people who watch this show are all business owners, and a lot of them belong to the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground, which is a big part of my life. I absolutely love the people in there because they're not only authors and speakers, but they also provide a great service for authors and speakers. So if you haven't joined the group, make sure that you do. Just go on Facebook and write in Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground, and it'll come up, and you can become a member of a very active, heavy-hitting group. And we would love to have you, especially on Thursdays, because that's when we have our masterminds at 10 o'clock Pacific time. But today, I want to talk to you about how to make the big shift. People are talking about it all the time. A lot of the spiritual people are talking about it. People who are in the know about what's happening. And I just want to talk to you about the fact that you don't have to accept what you were or are told to think now or in the past. And you also have every right to speak out and not be ruled by fear. That's something that we've always been allowed to do here in the United States. And that's where I was raised, in the United States. But all over the world, having talked to many, many, many adults, we were taught and told as children to be seen and not heard, and that our opinions weren't of any value. Have you ever experienced that? Let me raise my hand. Well, don't believe it, because that is absolutely not true. Everyone in this world has value. You are here to lead, to educate, teach, and share your passion with others. So keep in mind that what I am saying is that your opinions are of value. Don't believe it. If you still have that in your mind, don't believe your mind, because it's absolutely not true. And those who come to me for the transformation treatment have a great deal of trepidation and fear about how to live in this world. Everything seems to be topsy-turvy and changing. Have you noticed that? Well, I came from a difficult childhood too, and I understand what you are feeling. And a lot of the pain and fear come from a time when we were very young. It could be anywhere between, I don't know, 3 and 7, when something insignificant to others made a huge backlash in your life, and it's still holding you back now. And that's what's creating the fear in the world. Like I just said a few minutes ago, or a minute ago, I came from a difficult childhood. I wasn't allowed to be seen or heard, and my opinions didn't count. When that happens, then suddenly we begin to shrink back into ourselves, and we feel like if we step forward, somebody is going to chastise us. If we speak up, it's going to hurt us in some way. We're going to receive a consequence. And I'm going to tell you that it's very important to speak up. and make your voice heard, just like I did. Don't be silent. Look for a place to speak from your heart. And if you aren't happy, or perhaps you experienced a great loss, find a place to move forward. I think that's why so many people come to me, is because it enables them to step forward into who they truly are. And it's time you have a say in the world. Your purpose for being here on earth is to move forward on a path to express your feelings and, most importantly, your passion. But first of all, you have to know who you are and come out of the shadows. We hide, we shrink back, we don't express ourselves, and we just let people run over the top of us. Well, I'm telling you not to let that happen anymore. It just isn't worth it. And your speaking up is extremely important. So the only way you can do it is move into that next level so that you can make a difference in your world and the world of others. If you've been suppressed from the time of childhood, learn to understand who you are, why that happened, what the incident was that created that in your life, and what you're here to experience on earth at this time. You will not be heard, you will not be here to learn and lead for others. And if you are feeling that block within, what that is a knowledge that time is running out. Self-awareness is the most important step in our world today. And this is the purpose of the Great Awakening. So I suggest that you journal or sit quietly. So many people say, I can't sit quietly. No matter what I do, I can't sit quietly. My mind starts running away with me. Well, set a little timer on your phone and just focus in for 10 minutes on your value and trade your value for the fears and pain that you're experiencing and holding on to. That is holding you back. So if you don't acknowledge yourself and the value that you have to give others, you're missing the point. You know, the sad thing is that it's really unfortunate, actually. We live like we're floating on islands all by ourselves. And we cast out the knowledge of our elders while thinking we know it all. It's so hard to raise children without at least talking to your elders to see what mistakes they made. You know what mistakes you think they made, but you know it from a child's perspective. You haven't really learned how to deal with the mistakes that are coming in your future. And I've got to tell you, if I hadn't had my grandmothers, I thank God for them. I was so grateful for them because they said, well, this is going to happen. And if it happens, don't worry about it because you can do this to resolve it. Well, they'd already made the mistakes in their past. It's like having a really good coach, because I always say that a really good coach has tacked like a sailboat, right? Back and forth, and made all the little mistakes that you can avoid when you have a good coach. That's why I tell you always to look for someone that's doing what you want to accomplish, that has already had the experiences of negativity. Don't let it be you that ignores your elders, because like I said, they are like a good coach. They will tell you the mistakes they made and what they did to correct them. They will also tell you what mistakes your mom made so that you know not to do what your mom did, and they can give the perspective to you of what's real and not from the perspective of a child. So that's why I say, learn to understand who you are and what you're here to experience on earth at this time. You will not be able to learn to lead and do the right things for you until you understand your importance. Now, when I say time is running out, yes, we don't know how long we're going to be here on earth. Nobody knows. And self-awareness is really, really important in today's world. And if you don't have that self-awareness, you'll always be held back. And as I said, we live like we're on an island by ourselves. We don't have community unless we go out and make an effort to find it. The younger generation today feel as if there's no hope. And you know what? They choose to live their lives like there is no future. I was talking to one the other day and I said, what are you going to do in the long term with your future? And the person answered, she was 21. She said, I don't know. I just make enough money to survive right now. And if I can't survive, I'll go home to my parents and live off my parents. But I really don't have any plan for the future. Well, I have to say, the one thing that was really good about my generation is that we did plan for the future. And that's why I live the lifestyle that I do today. If I hadn't had the elders in my life that I could listen to, my grandmothers, who gave me very, very wise advice, or I hadn't had those that I respected to show me the way in business, and I hadn't had the negative experiences that I had myself, I wouldn't be where I am today. But I made a plan. And here's what my plan was, in case you don't have an elder to turn to. I learned the importance of multiple streams of income. And when I say multiple streams of income, I'm not just talking about a job, and I'm definitely not talking about the future of a 401k or a SEP IRA, because there's no hope there. You put your money in there, and I think you've already learned about this just in this past week or two about what can happen in the markets. It's nothing but gambling. So if you leave your money there, it probably isn't going to be there in the future. So what do you do about these multiple streams of income? Well, if you have a business, even if you have a job and you have a business on the side, you can set up different programs and products that people can buy at different times, and you can always do coaching anytime you want. If you know who you are and you're willing to step forward into who you are without fear, because you can't lead anybody else if you're still living in fear. Would you agree? Yeah, of course. You can't help others until you help yourself. And those of you who have children, try to focus on nourishing your children with the positive, so that they can see the benefits and possibilities they can experience in this lifetime. They're here to advance their souls. They're here to learn and make a positive difference on earth. And you might have noticed how different they are. It's amazing. They're so much more intelligent than I was as a child. And they're so much more open to love and the thinking with their heart. That's what's important. Talk to them. Let them talk to you, because they come with a higher mind. They come with a much more intelligent focus on their lives. So nourish your children with the positive. Listen to what they have to say. Take the time to say, tell me what you think about, and then ask them their opinion. You might be amazed at what they share with you. They see the benefits and possibilities they can experience in this lifetime. And they're here to advance their souls, learning and making a positive difference here. And I thank God for that, because I don't know what we'd do otherwise if we didn't have our children to support us in moving forward. We can see who we are within their eyes. And I'm talking about the little ones now. Have you noticed how smart they are? I mean, they're like sponges. They just suck everything up, and you can hardly stay ahead of them when it comes to teaching. It just amazes me to see what they are doing, even in kindergarten and first grade. They're writing. We didn't write until we were in third grade. It just makes such a huge difference in who they are today. But I want to go back to this heart space that I was talking about. You might have noticed that even men are being asked to move into their heart space in order to lead, because we need to learn to love others and think differently. Think from our heart instead of our head. Our head brings along all the garbage from the past, everything that has happened in the past. And unfortunately, in the past, we were living in a patriarchal culture of competition. And it's time to shift and change that. Life is not all about money and the chase. Have you noticed? Men are so overly competitive that it's all about the money, and they can't seem to get beyond it. When in reality, it's not about the money at all. It's about learning how to care for others, how to be kind, how to listen. I talk in my sales class about active listening. That's so important. And that's what I want you to do with your children. Practice active listening. What that means is you sit down and you look them in the eye and say, what you have to say is important to me, and I want to know what your thoughts are. Will you share them? Would you not share if someone said that to you? Your children need you to hear them. Don't tell them to be seen and not heard. Don't just blow off what it is that they are trying to tell you, because it may be something very important that you need to know right now. Grow the community in your family, but first grow it in your heart. Bring it into your family and then take it out into the world. Remember always what it means to live from your heart. And I did a whole show on how to build a heart-based business so that you bring only heart-based people toward you. But listening to the little ones is the first step. I don't care how small they are. They have something to share that you need, because if they're trying to give you their opinion, or they're trying to talk to you about what they care about, and you're not listening, they feel disrespected. Have you ever thought about that? Children feel hurt and disrespected. So please think with your heart about your children. Use active listening and step into the shift without fear. Get rid of all the fears, and especially that one about not having enough money. Because as long as you're talking about not having enough money, that's exactly what you're going to get. Because in this shift, the energy is very, very high. And what you think about is exactly what you get. So when you are afraid of stepping forward, afraid of speaking up, afraid of offering your opinion about something you feel adds value, then the others lose out. It's you. It's you that has to think about others. And don't take what they need away just because you're afraid to speak up. We need you. to learn how to love without boundaries and judgment, just like these new little children are doing. And the question I have for you is, are you willing to participate in this very important shift? Are you ready to speak up and move past and through your fears? Are you ready to stand with me in the authors and speakers visibility playground and make your voice heard? Because if you aren't heard, we are waiting to listen. We care about those who want to offer their opinion, lead, and teach. We need you. So let's provide courage and strength for each other to connect and connect with me in our heart-based community. Let's set a joyful stage of love that comes from our heart for the future of our children and our grandchildren. Okay, everybody, that's all I've got for you today. And I so appreciate when you listen in and that you offer your opinion. I'd love to hear what you have to say. What is your next step in order to support the world? Share it with us, would you? I'd love that. Take care, everybody, and be very